We start 9 News at noon with Weather Watch. The headline, a big impact storm expected to roll into Colorado in the next 36 hours. You're looking live right now at Loveland Ski Area. That already has some fresh powder there. Taste of what's to come. Right now, several forecasting models are predicting Denver could see its biggest snowstorm in years this week. A winter storm system could arrive tomorrow with impacts across the state. For more on that, let's check in with meteorologist Chris Bianchi, who's out in the 9 backyard where you can't tell we're bracing for snow, Chris.
This is the most classic Denver snowstorm setup, Steve. It's beautiful outside right now here in the 9 News backyard. Temperatures already up into the low 60s for us, but we do have a significant winter storm likely on our hands starting tomorrow night, and this will last all day, all through the day on Thursday, and probably doesn't wind down until maybe mid-morning or so on Friday. So again, right now things looking calm, but as is typical for us here in the Denver area, we've got those clouds overhead out ahead of our main storm system, which is way back over here into Utah, Nevada, and southern Idaho, as well as into western Wyoming. This is the storm system, or at least part of it, that's going to lead to some of that active weather as we get later on through the day tomorrow. Today, highs in the low 60s for us. Clouds will increase. In fact, they're already increasing, highs in the 60s and 70s on the eastern plains. But as we look ahead into the mountains, that snow starts kind of tonight for us in the high country, and it'll spin its way east as we head through the overnight hours and into your day tomorrow. That snow will eventually lead to that significant winter weather event for us, winter storm watch for the entire Denver area. This is for Wednesday through Friday morning, winter weather advisory for the mountains, and this is where we could be talking about some of those significant snowfall totals. It flips to snow tomorrow night. All those details on how much snow you can expect and when coming up in my full forecast.
All right, Chris. Just into the newsroom, the Colorado State Patrol says a semi crashed near I-76 and Highway 85. We don't know if anyone was hurt or if any of the roads in that area are closed yet, but CSP says there is a diesel spill from that crash. Right now, CDOT's not showing any road closures in that area. We'll keep you updated on that situation. Right now, Fort Collins police are asking for help finding a man accused of shooting and killing someone over the weekend. Happened late Saturday night at an apartment complex on Mangold Lane. It's close to College and Vine. Police found a man dead with a gunshot wound inside. Now police say they're looking for a 31-year-old man named Adrian Pacheco. He has a warrant for first-degree murder. Pacheco has a current case against him with charges including felony assault, child abuse, and theft. He's pleaded not guilty on those charges. Police say Pacheco may be armed. If you see him, you should call 911. Today, Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Colorado. We don't have a lot of details about her trip quite yet, except that she is holding an event in the Rhino Arts District. The Vice President is planning to talk about small businesses and the economy. The visit is part of her 4-state swing following President Biden's State of the Union address. This will be Harris's 4th visit to Colorado since taking office in 2021. Right now, Georgia's primary election is in full swing. Polls opened at 5 o'clock this morning, Mountain Time. President Biden and former President Donald Trump could both clinch each of their party's nominations after today's election. Regardless of the numbers, though, Biden and Trump are pretty much guaranteed to get the nomination for president. Today, the city of Denver is heading to an encampment in the Lincoln Park neighborhood to invite those living on the streets into the city's newly opened micro-community. Mayor Mike Johnston officially opened that tiny homes on Santa Fe near Iliff on Monday. There are 60 homes total, able to provide a bed to about 120 people altogether. There are bathrooms, kitchens, and trash services right there on site. Move-in at the La Paz community begins today, and the city expects every bed to be filled by the end of the week. The city initially had trouble securing a spot for the micro-community, and they admit this area is not perfect.
There's a big concern about pushing people out of downtown and bringing them into other neighborhoods like this beautiful neighborhood of Overland, and how that's going to impact such a small community. There's no RTD access here. There's no grocery store in this neighborhood, things like that.
The encampment the city will visit today is about a mile southeast of Empower Field. Plans to offer 100 people there a space in that new micro community, and with it come employment services and help for those who are struggling with mental health and addiction. Micro communities like La Paz were Johnston's main plan for short-term housing during his campaign. When he came back, the city turned to converting hotels into shelters. Now Denver City Council is considering whether to spend $25 million on one, pitching it as a way to save money. The city has been spending $825,000 a month to lease the former Embassy Suites in South Denver. shelter for families and members of the LGBTQ community who'd been living on the streets. That adds up to about $10 million a year. Instead, the city's finance department recommends spending $25 million to buy that hotel now. And years from now, they want to pump the brakes on the big purchase while the city tries to find a projected $120 million to cover the cost of the migrant crisis. It's been 8 days without hot water at an apartment complex in Denver's Five Points neighborhood. Before this, Welton Park residents didn't have any water, having to use porta potties and mobile showers for the past week. Now, a fair housing group is trying to make sure tenants know their rights. They say the apartment complex has violated those rights and think that there's enough to take the case to federal court. On Sunday, Regina Jones, the enforcement coordinator at the Denver Metro Fair Housing Center, knocked on doors for 2.5 hours educating tenants about their rights. One big tip is to save receipts from any food or additional water that they had to buy because they're out of water.
I can't imagine being in that type of situation and not knowing what to do and not knowing the resources that are out there.
People living there still don't have hot water. We asked the complex for an update on that situation. They tell us there will be a rent concession applied to residents' April rent.